Hello everybody, I'm DJ Yusen and today I'm back again with our key knowledge points revision on permutation and combination. So you might be thinking, what exactly is permutation and combination? So let us take a look at a simple question to understand it. Firstly, the question says, how many ways are there to sort 4 students to take a photo? Now, let's think about it. Well, to sort 4 students to take a photo, of course, we need to have 4 seats. And for these 4 seats, let's take a look at the first seat over here. If we say that these 4 students are named A, B, C, and D, well, who can sit at the first seat? Of course, it can be A, B, C, or D. All 4 of them are possible. But now let's say if we fix it to be one of them, let's say student A. Now, who can sit at the next following seat? The answer should be very evident. Since A is already at the first seat, for the second seat, there should only be 3 possibilities, and that is B, C, or D. Now again, if we take a look just at these 2 seats, how many different ways are there? If we think about it, for A, the first seat, there are 3 different ways to get the second seat. If we put it as B, how many ways are there for the second seat? Another 3 more. Similarly for C and D, I think all of us are able to see that there will be 3 each. And hence, total out, this should have 4 ways times each of it 3 ways, for a total of 12 ways. So we can just multiply by the number of ways of each to get the total number of ways. Now, we continue on to look at the third seat. Let's say we fix the second seat to be D. Now, who can be at the third seat over here? Should just be B and C. And that is it. So now, we see, for the first way, how many total ways are there to select this seat? There are a total of 4 ways. On the next seat, 3 ways. The next one is 2 ways, and of course the last one singular way. So now, what do? We just multiply all of them together, and that gives us our answer of 24. And what do we call this? We call this as the total number of ways. It's just each of the ways for the seat multiplied all together, and that gives us our total. So with that being said, now if the question says how many ways are there to sort 3 students to take a photo out of 4 students? So again, if I have 3 students to be selected, 3 seats. Now for the first seat, how many ways are there? Should just be 4, the following one 3, and the last one 2. And with that, all I have to do is just multiply them together, and I again get 24. But for this, well, we call it as permutation. Well, what exactly is permutation? It is that, well, out of 4 of them, I select 3 of them. So I write it in terms of 4p3. And how do I write it out? It's just 4 multiplied by the number lesser than it by 1, which is 3. Then on to the next one, which is 2. And that gives us 24. So now, if I say that I have a different question over here, I want to sort m students out of n students. How do I do this then? Well, for this, then definitely we are doing NPM. And for NPM, how do I write it out? I think this one, we should be able to understand that it starts off with n, then multiplied by n minus 1, multiplied by n minus 2, so on and so on. How many numbers should I write out? Since there are m students to be selected, I should write m numbers. Okay, so what does each of these represent? So let's do a recap. N represents the number of objects available. And M represents those that I have to select out of them. And this is what we call as permutation. Now, if I change the question a little bit, how many ways are there to sort 3 students to clean the classroom out of 4 students? Now, let's think. How many different ways are there to sort it? What is different in this case? Now, well, if I want to select them, let's say I've select, 3 students. Let's say again, they are A, B, C, and D. I think some of us, if we are trying it out, we should be able to see that one way to select them is just I select the 3 students A, B, C. And I can also select A, B, D, A, C, D, and of course, B, C, D. So with this being selected, now we think, oh, what is different now? We call this as combination. But for combination, what should be the alphabet that we represent it with? And the answer is just C. So 4 students select 3 students. So in combination, it's just 4C3. Here. But how do we write out 4C3? This is what we have to consider. How does it relate to our permutation that we have obtained just now? So let's see. Just now when we are doing permutation, if I do it out of 4 students, that's this many ways. And for combination, we are only looking at this 4 of them over here. But why is it as such? Now we think, well, A, B, C, if I select these 3 students, does it matter the order which I select them? If I select ACB, is it still the same 3 students cleaning up the classroom? The answer is, of course, yes. Similarly, if I select BAC in order, still doesn't change anything. It's still the same 3 students cleaning up the classroom. So with that being said, to get to our combination, we realize in this column, all 6 of them are actually the same thing. So we have to divide it by 6. And why do we divide it by 6? Because for these 3 students, there are 3 times 2 times 1 ways of sorting them among themselves. So for our combination, what we can do is we can take 4P3, then divide by the number of individual permutations within the group, which is 3P3. And that gives us our answer, which is here. 4 times 3 times 2 divided by 3 times 2 times 1. And that gives us 4. So with that being said, now let's say if we are asked for another question like this. How many ways are there to select M students out of N students? Well, what should we be writing? NCM, which is just equals to, well, NPM divided by MPM. So with that being said, we see now the difference between permutation and combination. Now, if we want to do some quick revision or quick practice on our combination, here it says, how many ways can we select 3 books from 5 different books? Now, when we are selecting these 3 books, do we use permutation or do we use combination? Take a moment to pause and think about this concept. Now, time's up. All of us should be able to see that actually the order which we select these 3 books, does it matter? Since I'm just choosing them, I'm not placing them on a bookshelf. So the order does not matter. And when the order does not matter, we use combination. So well, if we use combination, 5C3. And that gives me 5P3 divided by 3p3. And solving this out, we should be able to get to our answer of 10. Similarly, if I have another question that asks us to select 4 books from 7 different books, hopefully all of you can see that this is another question on combination. So the answer is as follows: 7c4. Solving for it, we just get 35. With this in mind now, that is all that we have to share for our permutation and combination. So now let's take a look at a summary for today's session. Well, when a selection sequence does matter, what do we have to do? We use permutation, and that gives us this formula behind, where npm is just n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 all the way for a total of m numbers. But if the selection sequence does not matter, then what do we use? We use combination, and that gives us NCM, which is just npm divided by npm. So with that being said, let us look at a practice question that I have for all of you. How many total ways can we select 5 students out of a class of 9 students? So once you're done with it, just put the answer in the comment section below. And well, if you have any other questions, feel free to join our WhatsApp group or just contact our teachers at Kangaroo Study. We're all very glad to help you guys with your problems. So with that being said, do remember to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you and bye bye.